Hi, my name is Jillian Villeneuve. I'm going to be presenting today on well-being across the lifespan. All right, the first point to understand is that when we're looking at well being across the lifespan, we have to understand that it is subjective. That means that it is really according to the individual and how they perceive their own well being. Having that understanding, we can then go ahead and look at the impacts of subjective well being. Anything that is largely positive adds years onto the lifespan, and it's associated with a decrease in mortality rates. Anything that is largely negative is associated with a higher stress levels and a poorer immune system, leaving us at risk for illness and slower wound healing. Since perceived well being is subjective, there is research that shows that different areas of wellness may have a different impact on wellness. Looking at financial wellness, we are able to see a couple of things here. The first is that quote from Andrew Oswald. It suggests that wealth is really a means to an end. What this means is that while we're wealthy, the perceived increase in well being really does not come from having the money, but rather having the ability to access and satisfy all of our needs and our wants. There's also a positive association with an increase in wealth while compared to others' income. We're pretty competitive creatures. We like feeling like we've got an advantage over our peers. The last kind of bit here says that there is an initial positive association when we have an increase in wealth, say we come into money or we get a pay raise, and then we do tend to turn right back to this baseline of happiness once we've gotten used to that new level of income. All right, looking at these psychological insights here, we've got two theories. The first is really just something to keep in mind, and it says that as we are born, we are already predisposed to certain levels of happiness. That is the set point theory. The next theory is the hedonic adaptation theory. This says that certain life changing events, such as marriage or the death of a loved one, while they do impact our perceived well being initially, we do eventually return right back to this baseline level of happiness. Having just looked at how different life events really impact us either positively or negatively, we can take away this understanding that, no matter what happens, we do eventually return to this base level of well being. However, looking at gerontology, which is a study of aging, we are able to wonder as we go through life, what is this base level of happiness and well being, and does it change? We've got two theories here. The first is the satisfaction paradox. You can see from the quote, it is stability despite loss. This says that despite loss, which we do experience more frequently as we age, our perceived wellness levels do tend to stay the same throughout life. The socio-emotional selectivity theory actually suggests that they increase as we go through life, meaning that we've got the selective attention to the positive as we age. We focus on our well being and we focus on maintaining higher quality relationships. We just dove into two specific theories explaining how and maybe why our well being changes as we go throughout life. But it is important to remember that there is research that explains three different types of relationships here. Looking at these different relationships, we have that linear one first, which suggests that we experience peak wellness at the end of life and it increases steadily throughout life. We also have either the U-shaped or the inverted U-shape. That just means that our peak areas of wellness occur at different points in our lives, but we do start the same as we ended. All right, guys, the biggest thing when we are looking at wellness across the lifespan is just understanding exactly how subjective it is. It really comes down to how the individual perceives their life, either positively or negatively. And this last quote here does really illustrate that point. It says that people born in different years, so say 1950 and 1975, they could go through the same exact things, experience the same exact happiness, but still report different values of life satisfaction. This does make you wonder, how can I increase my well-being simply by looking at my life in a more positive manner?